Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Curse of Oak Island, mining company finally gets the oak to explore the money pit. Last night on the Curse of Oak Island, the Dumas Mining Company announced that they will soon recommence operations to dig out the garden shaft and get the team underground in the money pit. Also on this week's episode, there was more evidence of a tunnel heading toward the garden shaft, and the origin of the mysterious Roman coin was identified. The whole thrust of this year's season was supposed to be the operation by the Dumas Mining Company to excavate and rehabilitate the old garden shaft. The plan was to dig out this old 19th century shaft and make it usable again. Once it was fit to use, Dumas could then construct further tunnels moving away from the shaft if the team so desired. So far this season, we've learned that the previously ignored garden shaft contains deposits of gold and may also be the focal point for a network of tunnels that the guys keep unearthing. Marty Legina and the team are starting to think this could be the location of the money pit. If Dumas could get them underground, then this would be the first time the guys would be able to explore the money pit below the surface. However, no sooner had Dumas started work than they were then shut down by local government bureaucracy. Apparently, they didn't have the proper permits, and there was no clue when these might ever arrive. On last night's episode, the team, along with representatives from Dumas, gathered in the war room to learn if there had been any progress. Excavation of the Oak Island garden shaft will continue soon. Cameron Carter from Dumas kept us all in suspense for far too long, as he seemed to twist and turn his words for what felt like an eternity before he got to the point. Marty looked like he was about to burst with frustration. Finally, Cameron said that they expected the permits in a week. Hallelujah! Viewers could feel relief from the team coming through their TV screens. Dumas initially stated that the project would take a few weeks, so barring any more nasty holdups, the guys may still be able to get underground before the end of the season. Fingers crossed. This urgency to get underground was intensified when the borehole drill team hit a large quantity of wood at 93 to 95 feet. This appeared to be a collapsed tunnel, and it was at the same depth and trajectory as one they'd found earlier this season. The guys concluded that this was the same tunnel and that it was heading straight for the garden shaft. In the meantime, the team is still drilling into the blob, but as yet still no gold. But it's still early days yet in that area. Update on the Roman coin found on Oak Island's Lot 5. Also on last night's episode, there was an intriguing update on the Roman coin found by Gary Drayton on Lot 5 a couple of weeks ago. Doug Crowell and Alex Legina traveled up to the University of New Brunswick to speak with a friend of the show, geochemist Chris McFarlane. Chris had previously helped the team place the south of France as the point of origin for the famous 14th century lead cross. Now Chris fed the suspected Roman coin into a laser ablation machine in order to analyze the isotope values, thereby telling us where it was made. Luckily, Chris was able to get good data off the coin and was able to narrow its point of origin to the Iberian Peninsula, so either Spain or Portugal. Both these countries were part of the Roman Empire for approximately 700 years, and the Romans did extensive mining on the peninsula, which was often used to create currency. The guys were also intrigued that Portugal had popped up again. The West European country keeps cropping up in evidence connected to Oak Island. Last year, the guys even traveled to Portugal to investigate links between Templar Knights and the island. Marty posited another interesting theory about why they may have only found half the coin. He argued that maybe the two halves were part of a secret pact, and that someone may have presented the coin as a way to identify themselves. As always, the mystery on Oak Island deepens further. The morning sun broke over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the rugged terrain of Oak Island. For centuries, this small, tree-covered island off the coast of Nova Scotia had been the subject of legends and rumors, most of them swirling around the mysterious money pit, a place where gold, treasure, and secrets were said to be buried deep beneath the surface, protected by booby traps and hidden mechanisms that had foiled treasure hunters for over 200 years. Today, however, the island's centuries-long mystery stood on the brink of revelation. The mining company, after years of negotiation, red tape, and environmental concerns, had finally received official approval to conduct an extensive dig at the infamous money pit. The island's new residents, the Legina brothers, Rick and Marty, stood at the edge of the pit, their excitement barely concealed beneath their typically measured demeanor. "This is it," Rick said quietly, his eyes fixed on the site. "The moment we've been waiting for." Marty nodded, hands on his hips, surveying the machinery that had been meticulously assembled over the past weeks. Drills, excavators, and high-tech sensors surrounded the money pit, ready to plunge deeper into the earth than anyone had before. "Let's hope the money pit gives up its secrets this time." For decades, people had thrown everything they had at the pit: wealth, labor, and even their lives. The island had claimed its victims over the years, with collapse after collapse, flooding traps, and mechanical failures preventing anyone from reaching its rumored depths. Theories had sprung up like wild vines: Templar treasure, pirate gold, even the lost works of Shakespeare. But no one had ever been able to confirm what lay beneath Oak Island's surface. The mining company's approach was different. Armed with modern technology, geophysical surveys, and data from years of smaller excavations, they believed they had pinpointed the exact location of the fabled treasure vault. More importantly, they had the resources to tackle the island's challenges, namely the complex system of underground flood tunnels designed to protect the pit's contents. The company had designed a new cofferdam system that could cut off the sea's access to the pit, hopefully bypassing the flooding that had hampered every previous dig. As the crew prepared to break ground, a buzz of anticipation hung in the air. Investors, historians, and treasure enthusiasts had all gathered at the site, some clutching cameras, others holding breathless conversations about what they believed might be found. The Legina brothers stood apart, watching as the mining team performed their final safety checks. They had been here before, so many times before, but something about this moment felt different. "Do you really think we'll find something this time?" Marty asked, his voice betraying just a hint of skepticism. It wasn't that he didn't believe; he had poured too much of his time and energy into the project for that. But the island had a way of making even the most rational person doubt. Rick smiled, his eyes still locked on the pit. "I think we're about to learn something important. Whether that's treasure, history, or something else entirely, we're going to get answers." The chief engineer stepped forward, giving the signal to start. With a deep rumble, the largest of the drills roared to life, its steel teeth gleaming in the early morning light. The ground trembled slightly as the massive machine lowered itself toward the money pit, beginning its descent into the unknown. The crowd fell silent as the drilling commenced, every eye fixed on the slowly turning drill bit as it chewed through the layers of soil and rock. The first few meters were easy enough, nothing but loose dirt and debris. But as the drill went deeper, the tension grew. Every so often, the drilling paused as a worker retrieved samples from the earth, sifting through the material for clues. So far, nothing unusual: clay, sand, a few stones. Then, just after noon, the first hint of something different came. "Stop the drill," a voice shouted. The machines ground to a halt, and the lead geologist knelt beside the latest sample, his gloved hands carefully turning over a chunk of dark, damp wood. The crowd murmured in excitement. Wood from deep underground could only mean one thing: they had hit something man-made. The team worked quickly, extracting more of the wooden beams. As the pieces came to light, it became clear that they had encountered an ancient structure, likely part of the original money pit's protective system. Rick and Marty exchanged a look. They were close, closer than anyone had been in centuries.